Waters, you currently under the influence of alcohol or drugs?
Yes, sir.
Any mental or emotional problems that would make it difficult to understand what we're doing today?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
It was filed today, an acknowledgement of rights and plea agreement. Which appears to have your signature on page 8. Is that in fact your signature?
Yes, sir.
Before signing this agreement, did you read it?
Yes, sir.
Have a chance to go over it with your lawyers?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand the agreement?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone promised any benefit to you if you pleaded guilty?
No, sir.
Have they threatened you if you did not plead guilty?
No, sir.
You understand that this is a binding plea agreement, and if I do not go along with it, you will be allowed to change your plea back to not guilty. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Would you stand, please, Mr. Waters?
Yes, sir.
For the charge of deliberate homicide by accountability of felony allegedly committed in this county on or about January 7, 2012. How do you plead?
Yes, sir.
Would you step forward and be sworn by the clerk, please? Very good.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, sir.
Last, would you state your name for the court, please?
Lester Van Waters, Jr.
And obviously, you are the defendant in this case.
Yes, sir.
Now, last, on January 6th of 2012, you were living in Parachute, Colorado.
Yes, sir.
And on January 6th, 2012, you left Colorado for Williston, North Dakota to work in the oil fields.
Yes, sir.
And last, on this trip, which brought you through Montana, did Michael Spell accompany you on the trip?
Yes, sir, he did.
And before this trip began, isn't it true that you had been up for 3 solid days using cocaine?
Yes, sir.
Did you provide cocaine to Michael Spell?
Yes, sir, I did.
And during the trip, did you and he essentially match each other hit for hit on the cocaine?
Yes, sir.
And you both were using massive quantities?
Yes, sir.
And during the course of the trip from Parachute, ultimately to Sidney, the two of you discussed sex.
Yes.
And specifically, the two of you discussed where you could find a woman to have sex with.
Yes, sir.
And during the course of these discussions, you explained to Mr. Spell that the best place to look for a woman to have sex with would be bars, truck stops, dope holes, or trailer parks.
Yes, sir.
And during the course of this trip, the two of you discussed that you would like to grab or snatch a woman to have sex with.
Yes, sir.
And during the course of this trip, this was discussed on at least a few occasions.
Yes, sir.
And while you were discussing this with Mr. Spell indicated to you, did he not, that what he wanted to do was grab a woman, have sex, and kick her out.
Yes, sir.
And he indicated this to you on more than one occasion.
Yes, sir, he did.
And when you arrived in Sidney, when you arrived in the Holly Street area, the two of you observed Sherry Arnold walking.
Yes, sir.
And at the time that you saw her, she was near a red light here in Sidney.
Yes, sir.
And also, she was in the vicinity of what you at the time, in your intoxicated state, viewed to be a shabby trailer park.
Yes, sir. I looked that way.
And so from your background, where you come from, and your experience with drugs, in your mind, this was a place to find the kind of woman you were looking for.
Yes, sir.
And knowing this, you stopped and you let Mr. Spell out to grab her, that is, to stop her.
Yes, sir.
And the purpose of you letting him out was to obtain sex, ultimately.
Yes, sir.
And after you dropped him off, you then went to a church parking lot near the area and again engaged in a hit of cocaine.
Yes, sir, I did.
And your intent was, after doing the cocaine, to hook up with Michael Spell and the woman.
Yes, sir.
So when Mr. Spell and the woman did not return, you believed in your mind that he had gotten her.
Yes, sir.
And so you went to look for them.
Yes, sir.
And when you located Mr. Spell, you saw him in an irrigation ditch,
Yes, sir.
dragging Sherry Arnold,
Yes, sir.
and he drug her up out of the ditch. In time, she was dead.
Yes, sir, she was.
And when you realized she was dead, the two of you loaded her into your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
And you then drove to the Williston, North Dakota area with her body in your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
And you buried her.
Yes, sir, I did.
And then ultimately, after you were arrested for this, you did take law enforcement to the grave site so that Sherry Arnold could be recovered for her family.
Yes, sir, I did.
To be real clear, Mr. Waters, at the time that you let out Mr. Spell, the purpose was for him to approach her, stop her, or the words you guys had used previously, to grab her for sex.
Yes, sir.
Plan was that she would be grabbed, correct? Or not?
Yes, sir.
Taken against her will?
No, sir.
You feel she would voluntarily go with you?
Well, look, from where she was at, sir, where I come from,
Maybe I can help.
Is that partly because of the cocaine you were using?
Court will accept the defendant's plea of guilty to deliberate homicide by accountability felony. Pre-sentence investigation is ordered. On its completion, a date will be scheduled for sentencing. Court adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.